With us right now is Adam Shapiro on the scene in Alexandria, Virginia, with the very latest. What can you tell us, Adam?
Well, the other people who were shot this morning, we can give you some updates on them. There were the Capitol Police officers you mentioned, Special Agent David Bailey and Special Agent Crystal Griner. They are expected to be okay. We were told that she was actually shot in the foot. Representative Roger Williams had an aide who was hit, that Zachary Barth. He's expected to be okay. And we also learned within the last hour that Matt Mika, a lobbyist for Tyson Foods, was one of the people who was injured. So 5 people were injured in this shooting. And as you said, the perpetrator, the man who appears to have been the shooter, James Hodgkinson, 66 years old, from Belleville, Illinois, is dead. Now, the president spoke within the last 2 hours about bringing people together and uniting people after a tragedy like this, and here's what he said.
We may have our differences, but we do well in times like these to remember that everyone who serves in our nation's capital is here because, above all, they love our country. We can all agree that we are blessed to be Americans, that our children deserve to grow up in a nation of safety and peace, and that we are strongest when we are unified and when we work together for the common good.
And, Neil, you were talking about Bernie Sanders because this man, 66-year-old James Hodgkinson, who has been identified as the shooter and has been pronounced dead, he was a Bernie Sanders supporter and volunteer. So Bernie Sanders put out a statement earlier today, and he said, I condemn this action in the strongest possible terms. Real change can only come about through nonviolent action, and anything else runs against our most deeply held American values. One other thing as I wrap up here, Neil, is that the Republicans who were playing baseball this morning were practicing for the annual congressional baseball game, which is a fun event that raises money for charities, Republicans versus Democrats, Democrats versus Republicans. And when you were talking to guests about the political overtones of what's happened this morning, it's important to remember, despite the rhetoric, that the men and women who work on Capitol Hill often do have relationships with one another outside of the politics, and it's not uncommon that they may say harsh things publicly, but they are respectful and in some cases friends behind the scenes.